inside of the stomach and anger, causing a acid reflux to happen. And DK uses this moment to use one of his last rocket barrels in order to ride out in the same way that he does in Donkey Kong Country Returns. I mean, this is not just go to Bowser and Peach getting ready for the actual wedding. There's even like little birthday cake with Bowser's shells all over it, and also some mushrooms and Bowser's horns with a wedding Bowser and wedding Peach figurines on top, which is really interesting because they look like the amiibo as well. We also get two special guests in the audience with King Baba being there and even King Boo in the back. Now I will say when I was watching this and they kept showing King Boo, he looked very weird, like his model was not finished or something, as almost if they just threw him in at the very end of the movie, like King Boo was never supposed to be here. They just kind of said we should add him at the very last second. I don't know, I wasn't huge on his design in the movie. If you watch the movie and watch him closely, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Peach is forced to marry Bowser, or at least attempt to marry Bowser, or Luigi, the penguins, and other Kongs and characters will be dropped into the lava from their cages. I haven't really talked about Luigi again ever since because we don't really see him anymore. He's just in those cages with all the different characters as well, which Weeeee is actually one of the characters in the cages, which is just a Luma, apparently a baby Luma, that has some very weird issues with him. In fact, he wants to die in the lava and gets upset when Peach saves the day. It's very weird. But we don't see or hear or know anything else about this Luma. There's no Rosalina reference or Mario Galaxy reference at all. No reason why this random Luma is here. He is literally there just to give you a couple laughs. Of course, both Peach and Bowser have their guards on Super Mario Bros. Peach is perfectly different. It has a bit of all white Super Mario Odyssey. Yes, something very detailed here. But it's incredible how much Odyssey is represented. Peach saved the day, hiding in ice flower and her bouquet, freezing Bowser and the other minions that are trying to attack her, and she also freezes the chains so the chains will stop dropping into the lava, saving Luigi, the penguins, and all to the theme. And obviously, DK turns into Fire DK, and Mario grows bigger by eating a mushroom, and their super power takes over the enemies using seeing Mario just hit all types of moves that we've seen in the past games was a really nice touch. He used 4-3 moves this time around, like side flips and back flips, which is really cool to see. He even kind of mirrors what he did in the obstacle moves. You'll see him use his spin jumps again and even ground pound like he did in blocks, but this time in a group of Koopa Troopas and Hammer Bros to knock them out of the way, which is awesome. Mario then finds a Tanuki leaf, and you can hear some Mario Bros. 3 music playing, and he turns into Mario and flies up to the castle as Donkey Kong is running up the chains to help. He grabs the leaf and preventing the cages from dropping, so he sprays everybody back up and saves them after Peach's ice powers go into their faces. Bowser then moves up and he calls for a massive fire power to smash the Mushroom King behind side, which is targeted straight from Peach's castle. Mario flies down as Tanuki Mario gets the Bill's attention by smacking him in the eye with his tail, making the Banzai Bill want to attack Mario instead of the castle. He flies around trying to get Mario until Mario gets its fight to the Mushroom Kingdom, where it then goes into the void and blows up, sucking everything from the Mushroom Kingdom into ruin. Also, I just thought real quick, guys, to say I actually called this because I really want to see they seem play out the same way as the classic Mario Brothers series, where Bowser and his Koopas actually come to improvement within that TV show. I thought it'd be really cool to see that in the show. It happens. Mario then has to have a 1v1 fight against Bowser, and Bowser is aggressively even giving damage to Mario, as we usually see that in the Mushroom Kingdom, and maybe because the Mushroom Kingdom doesn't really have damage to people, maybe they don't get black eyes or anything. But now that Mario's back to the world, Bowser hides back in that same diner that he was getting, which he kind of is scared. He doesn't know he can do it. Peach and Donkey Kong are able to distract Bowser for a second, and actually pushes him and knocks him around. Mario enough time to come out of the diner for Bowser shoots fire at Mario, but Luigi comes up and blocks it with a manhole cover, allowing both Mario and Luigi to dive after the Power Star that's near them, and of course, they gain invincibility. Those attacks kind of Mario Donkey style to take out Bowser, popping off of each other, throwing Bowser around, and to come at different angles. I mean, soul the entire time Mario was down. Also, and then they defeat Bowser, where Peach and Toad come up and get Bowser and his mushroom shrink down in a jar. Finally, there was also more signs nearby, one from right and one for ice climbers here and one there for ice climbers and ice cream stand. And then at the very end, we see Mario and Luigi at their new home, but this time it's in the Mushroom Kingdom where they decided to stay. And we also have a poster of F-Zero on their back wall. Then we have two post-credit scenes. The first one is Mini Bowser living in the middle inside of his cage that he can't escape. It's sitting inside the Mushroom Kingdom, but I mean, seriously, the only issue is the power probably goes back to the sides, right? And then the second and final post-credit scene within the movie shows a Yoshi egg sitting down in the sewers where Mario or something in the Mushroom Kingdom, but this time it looks like it is in England, probably something in the world of Mushroom Kingdoms. And Mario sucked everybody in the bonfire, and sitting down there in the sewer credit can hear the iconic Yoshi sound before it fades to black. And that is the entirety of the Super Mario Brothers. And a recap where you can talk about every little detail. Of course, there are so many other details here and there that's impossible to pick up on immediately. So once it comes out, we'll probably be able to dissect everything more passionately and tell you everything that's in it. There's so much here. It was a great ride and an awesome start for the Nintendo Wii Cinematic Universe that we're going into. Down below, let me know how you guys is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Stand the name of all things Mario Wii and Nintendo in general. And like always, I'll see you all next. See you guys. Levels, I picked D for Bowser, which is one of the last challenges Bowser's stage. Here it also floating birds in the air, which is also very difficult. So I can take the stage into account. This is a very difficult final stage, Bowser on the side. And of course, the Bowser is slightly different. For Super Mario, I picked Mario to find the balls because there's a lot going into this boss fight. He has very different phases and uses the different items that Mario does in the game as well. Like the food allowance for all of them. And also like Fire Flower allowance is a little different from Mario. Now most of the bosses in this game are also extremely easy, so just one of my favorite plants. And for Super Mario World, I picked Bowser because you want to grab his Mega Nicholas and run in the air and quickly threaten him as he's over in front bar in order to hit him in the head. He also has tons of attacks and control like cannonballs, and also using fire in the sky. And it's all like from time to time that bosses with more bosses in this game that work. Next up, we have Mario and Bowser. This almost for me was more because if you hit him at edge, spikes out for a shot, bouncing off the walls, and before long, your safety pipe will be gone, leaving you with a gap, making it very, very difficult. Your job is to bounce the bottom of yourself, recover in order to blow them up, and then have Mario. This can be very difficult because it also has baby recovery which means they can block these attacks. So really, it comes down to a straight plug sometimes. You either do it or Bowser from Red and now the highest hit Bowser boss battles, and seriously, be one of the hardest boss battles in the entire series. I consider myself pretty good at this game and can complete pretty much every single difficulty level besides this one. I think I may have done it only once or twice, and it was with like a D or an F, but I still completed it. But at the end of the day, this is just so fast-paced, not including the fact that you have to in the pieces of the rocket in order to fight against Bowser. But keeping up with the fireballs is just madness. For Mario 64, I picked Bowser once again to be the hardest boss battle because just timing his feet on spikes at the back of the stage is very difficult. Not to mention the fact that the final Bowser boss battle in this game was made 3 times. This was always so hard for me as a kid because you had to just get enough momentum fast for aim by this was just a Fire the Sunshine between man-to-man time. Now, nearly enough just left so much impression on me. Now, since I played the game 150 times, this is not too big of a deal for me anymore. But I tell you what, for first-timers or really anybody that's just coming back to play the game for the second or third time, this boss will probably always give you a problem because it can be very tricky to maneuver underwater with Mario. But the whole point of this boss battle is cleaning teams, so you have to switch back and forth between your hover nozzle in order to get out of his mouth, and also the regular nozzle in order to spray the team, and this can be tricky. The hardest boss in Super Mario Galaxy was Boulder Guys for me, especially the Daredevil run. What makes this so difficult is really the hand skills, because when you're trying to swing the bomb moves in his body, lots of the time the moves will hit his hand, and as you wait for the next one of the hand moves will regenerate, making this extremely difficult, where you'll have to swim in in order to hit the body, and before long, it will be rocks swinging at you and this punching at you, and you will probably take a hit. And the most difficult boss in Mario Galaxy 2, meaning was Bowser. This boss had to run a brand new ground power in order to reach the top of Bowser's tower and crack the top. giant Bowser Balls battle. For New Super Mario Bros. U, I have both of the Bowser Jr. fights. The one underwater can be hard because it's one of the only underwater fights where you have to guide the Torpedo 10 into crashing into Bowser Jr., which can be hard because you have to follow Bowser Jr. and lead your shots. Where the other one, where he's floating in the sky with his clown car, he has fists that punch at you where you have to either run up his arm to hit him or throw bob-ombs at him while he's moving back and forth. He'll try to punch you and punches the stage, also breaking the bricks, bringing you down with it, so it can be very difficult as well. And New Super Mario Bros. 2's bosses are brain dead easy, so of course I gotta go with the final try Bowser, where he's giant and also shooting fireballs at you as the platforms are racing. This one also isn't too bad. I think the only difficulty raise is when you run out of platforms, is when you keep jumping on a certain section of platforms in one area, you'll have to fly your way all the way to the other side. So if you don't have a Tanuki leaf, this can be extremely hard, as the platforms just might not come up in time. Next we move on to some more 3D games. We have Mario 3D Land. I picked the final Bowser boss fight where you're chasing him down as he's shooting these giant mystical fireballs at you. He's also throwing things at you almost in a Donkey Kong style. But then he's chasing you down the bridge at the very end, which you have to make quick decisions to get under blocks, jump over them, or just run through them. Next up, we have Mario 3D World's Histocrat King and Queen. Now, at the very end of the game, you'll have a special challenge where you have to fight both of these kings and queens at the same time. Now, this can be very difficult, especially if you do not have a cat suit, because you're going to have to do some massive platforming to make sure you jump off the plates at the right time. And sometimes you can't even climb some of the snakes, so you'll have to sit there and wait for a smaller one to get up. But there's a lot of plates that have cracks in them, which means they will break and the snakes will bite you, and sometimes you're just not high enough to hit the king or the queen, and you'll take a shot of damage. This is a very difficult boss battle, and it definitely makes for an end of the game challenge. For Bowser's Fury, we have the extra final boss. Now, the actual Fury Bowser boss isn't too terrible. It's just repeating everything you've done so far, hitting his stomach, throwing things at him, and ground pounding on him when you occasionally can, and jumping out of the way of his fire attacks. But where it really gets difficult is when you're riding Plessy, and you have to make your way to the bells and hit him as well. This can be difficult because he is shooting almost every single fireball in existence at you, which means sometimes it's nearly impossible to dodge some of these things coming at you, and you're just going to have to get lucky. Getting under the water at the right time and jumping at the right time is a necessity, and sometimes it's just going to come down to timing. I know this is against the wall, but for Super Mario Odyssey, I have two bosses. For one, I have Topper on the dark side of the moon. This is the first and easiest boss of the game when you play through the regular story, but in this extra world, this boss can be a nightmare because there's so many hats flying around the stage and you're in zero gravity, which sometimes can mess up your jumps, and you will always get hit by one. Especially at the very last phase where he just has the giant tower of hats and he spins so occasionally you have to know when to get out of there and when to move at the right second while also still dodging all the hats that are moving in the background. But I also chose the second Lord of Lightning from the Mushroom Kingdom because the stage is full of ice, which means you'll be sliding around trying to dodge these electricity shocks. And phase 3 is still, to me, one of the hardest attacks to dodge within this game because there's so much electricity, it goes on for so long. I mean, seriously, I have not found a consistent way to make sure I dodge all these. Even though you'll only get hit once, it still is a very powerful, very insane attack. Nowadays, none of these Mario Kart DS bosses truly stumps me, but I remember as a kid, Goom Boss was always my consistent nightmare. He always would catch up at the very end and just scare me as he's running beside you. I'd always bump into him. There was always some type of problem with this boss. Because you didn't know when he was going to run up on you. And you had to make sure you hit very tight drifts so that way he would stay behind you. I think it was just more of a scare factor, but I guess this would technically be the hardest boss for me in this game. Moving to Mario Tennis Aces, we have Bowsy, which is a mummified Bowser, which you're playing an intense game of tennis with. This puts all your skills to the test, your quick dodge, and also your timing as well, because if you don't hit his shots at the right time, it will start to break down your racket. So lots of slowdown is needed, and you have to pay close attention, especially with his volley at the end of each part of his life. And then we have Mario Golf Super Rush. Mario Golf Super Rush has some of the weirdest and probably lamest bosses ever. Even though they tried to make bosses in a golf game, it just didn't quite work out. But the hardest would have to be Snow King, because there's only 3 and the others much as brain dead. But Snow King is pretty simple as well. You go around the stage, you pick a bomb, and you hit it at the crystal in the background while slightly dodging some very slow snow attacks from, obviously, the Snow King. And you just kind of hit back one of his powerful attacks by a button timing prompt. That's about it. It's pretty easy, but as far as this game goes, it has to be the hardest. Next, we move on to the RPG spin-offs. And I had to ask for Mario RPG The Legend of the Seven Stars, because obviously I have not played this one yet if you watch my past videos, but of course everyone comes together to say Culex. This is apparently one of the most difficult bosses in the Mario franchise, and let alone probably one of the most difficult RPG bosses a lot of people like to mention. He's able to use 5 attacks at once, has crystals that you have to knock out, and has an extreme amount of health. I mean, for someone that hasn't even played this game all the way through yet, this guy looks terrifying. Next up, we have Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, and Cackleta's soul is a monster, that's for sure. Especially in the original game, where you don't even get to attack first, and you have 1 health each, which means if you get hit by any of her, like, 3 barrages of attacks, you die instantly, and the match can end before you even start it. So, of course, they kind of balance this out with the new game a little bit better, but still, the boss has some incredible moves. It's able to shoot lasers out of its eyes that falls the screen. You have to jump at the right time. It has fire and electricity hands, and you have to take out both the hands and the head before you can even get to the heart. Partners in time, it's definitely both of the Shroom sisters. I love these bosses too, and they're definitely very difficult. The first one's more quick. It utilizes a giant shield that you have to break down in order to attack it, and also her flying chair can be super annoying. She's got lasers that she can shoot out and giant crab legs that she'll try to stomp on you with by dropping the entire chair on you, which timing is a necessity. Then Elder Shroom comes out and utilizes the top screen more with her Shroom UFOs, and also has them try to aim at the bros, where you will once again have to have really good timing and memory to shoot them down. And then Elder Shroom grows into a monstrosity, where you have to take out her legs in order to drop her down and take out the crown, which can be difficult for sure because she can use multiple different attacks at once. If you think that's a lot of bosses to fight in a row, well, we're not done yet, because you have to fight her soul form sticking out of Bowser, where you have to just dodge repeatedly until she ends up hitting herself and killing herself. Next up, we have Bowser's Inside Story. I have 2 of them. The first one, Fawful Express. This can be tedious, not because the actual boss is doing damage to you, but because the fact that it is trying to get away. So it's going to be driving away from you. You have to catch it, and you have to defeat it in a certain amount of turns, or you lose the battle, which means you can only afford to mess up once or twice before the train gets away. And when I say mess up, I mean you have to make sure you get excellent attacks down, because sometimes it can be difficult in the DS not work the way you want it to, whether you're blowing in the mic for the fire or you're swiping for the punch. I'd also say the Dark Bowser Fawful fight is pretty difficult as well. Dark Bowser himself in the overworld isn't too bad, but with Mario & Luigi, he can be kind of tricky, especially during the scene where he chases you and you have to jump over the black holes. Dreamy Bowser was definitely difficult, but I think the hardest for me was Antasma, but not just any Antasma, Antasma X. It has an extreme amount of health, and its attacks are downright mischievous. Also, considering the fact that it can upgrade its stats and also heal when it wants, it's just very annoying. The attack that always got me is when it duplicated itself into bats, and threw some in the foreground, some in the background, and some in the same plane as Mario, and you have to know when to jump and when not to jump. And let me tell you right now, it sucks. Then for Mario & Luigi Paper Jam, it's definitely Shiny Robo Bowser, where Paper Bowser and regular Bowser team up, and he gets this super mega suit. What makes this so difficult is it's just random attacks that happen. Like after punching at Mario & Luigi, he'll shoot a massive burst of fire at Paper Mario with no warning, and then also another fireball right after it. I mean, this is just a boss where you have to play multiple times in order to understand its attack patterns, because there's just no way someone's getting it their first, second, maybe even third time around, just because it's so random. Next up, we have the Paper Mario series. Starting with Paper Mario 64, I picked Huff and Puff. Huff and Puff was so annoying when I was a kid. I remember just always regaining its health because it would shoot out its little children and also regain them as well. What was so funny about it is just every time you attacked Huff and Puff, these clouds would pop out, ultimately giving him more health every single time automatically. So ultimately, the strategy was to hit him very hard as Mario and have one of your side characters use their multiple attack ability in order to take out the babies. This is one that I seriously could not pick. For Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, I mean seriously, I feel like everyone online is definitely on a different side for this one. Shadow Queen is the very final boss of the game, and it can be extremely hard with all the different hands it'll shoot out, and it's hard to time when to dodge these attacks because you're just covered in a crowd of hands. You don't know